You're listening to the 1 Minute Writing Tip, a podcast that gives you tips on how to overcome writer's block, overwhelm, and self-doubt, learn how to accomplish your God-given book idea, even if you're a busy mompreneur, confidently publish to bestseller, and use your book as a tool for impact and for purpose. We have a variety of episodes with interviews from best-selling authors in the industry, experts who have tools and tricks to help you succeed, and of course, recommendations from me, your host, Caitlin Silva. You can find even more resources on wewritebooks.com, where you can also take advantage of your complimentary bestseller assessment to get a step-by-step roadmap to accomplish your bestseller and beyond. So let's get into today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 1 Minute Writing Tip podcast. I am excited. I am featuring Linda Jenkins today. Linda has worked in ministry for over 20 years, and she is also skilled in teaching all ages about Christianity and just growing in your faith. She has an extensive background in writing, editing, and proofreading, as well as strong organizational skills. She brings her heart for the Lord and her skill set together by creating a broad range of research experiences and is passionate about helping others to lead a life filled with God-focused decisions, as well as how to partner with Him and ultimately His work here on earth. Linda is also one of the authors in the recent #1 best-selling book, Leap of Faith. So Linda, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Awesome. So will you just kick us off by sharing a little bit more about your incredible journey of really how you got to where you are today? I mean, that was quite a crazy background, but just give us some more of those details for you as you lived your life.
Okay. I learned about the Lord when I was in 5th grade. I never really, I've heard about God, and I kind of thought of Him as a fairy tale, kind of like the Greek mythology and all that. And then when my dad became ill and everyone in the family was really turning to Jesus, and I was just like, wasn't so sure about that. But he was really, really sick, and I decided, well, maybe I'll try to pray. And I started out with, now I lay me down to sleep, and I'm like, what is that? That's nothing, And so I just talked to God in my head, which felt really weird to me because I was talking to someone else in my head. And I just was crying out to Him to heal my daddy. And I just, I fell asleep. And I don't know if it was the next morning or if it was several mornings later. It was just so close. But my mom woke me up and said, I just got a call from the hospital. Your dad's well and he's coming home. And I know it was just like, I got goosebumps. I still get goosebumps when I think about it, because it was just like, he's real. And then I go, oh, he knows everything. It's just like, oh my gosh. So I was just, yeah. So then I started really searching and learning as much as I could. And he was always at the forefront of my life. Of course, I backtracked and I did things, and we all do the up and down stuff. But he was always there, and he was always seeing me through all the different trials of my life. And then I got into ministry and volunteer, and then doing conferences, and then teaching other churches how to grow and be healthy churches. And my life just expanded, and I became, the last job I was a children's pastor. So, yeah, I grew in with God, and I really wanted to mentor. God told me to start mentoring online, which was interesting to me because I did everything through the church beforehand. And he just said, no, it's time for this. And then, of course, life changes happen, and all this health issues came with my parents and myself and my husband. And, I'll share that all in another book. But I need to go through those little trials too, so that I can help others in areas that I never experienced before. So here I am, just sharing with the world, because God says it's not all about me, it's about others. He gives us these experiences so we can help others. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Wow. What an amazing testimony of God's goodness and how he goes after that one, how you
Yeah.
had, this idea, but then that wasn't reality. And then God just gently gave you this amazing experience that has gone on to shape your life and your relationship with him. And
Mhm.
that's so beautiful. And I love your obedience to the Lord. I love that you are like, okay, God, if you say to do it, I'm going to do it. And I just love
But I argue too. I argue too.
yeah.
I
Don't we
tried to
all?
dissuade him, but
Right.
he's like, nope, nope. This is what I want.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you do it though. I mean,
I do.
it reminds me of that parable that Jesus told about the two sons, and the father tells one, go work in the field, and the son is like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then he eventually he does, but then
Right.
the other son, he says, go work in the field, and he's like, okay, and then he never goes. And it's like, Jesus is like, well, which one
Yeah.
obeyed? And you're like, well, the one that argued. Anyway, so I love that. I love
That's
that.
me. That's me.
Yeah, yeah, right. Okay, yeah. So talk to me a little bit more about how that eventually led to your writing this chapter in Leap of Faith, and then I know you're also pursuing some other books, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
Oh my goodness.
How
Yeah.
did it lead to the writing part of it?
You know, that's where I thought God was leading me in the beginning, when there was this life change, and you read about it in the Leap of Faith a little bit. I glimpse at it. So I thought he was leading me to writing. And then he says, time to go back to work, which I knew meant go back into the church and work. And that's when I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to just write. And you gave me all these ideas, and I really feel this is from you. And he goes, but I want you to go back to work. And eventually I just reluctantly did. You'll read it in the Leap of Faith. And but by doing so, I had the most amazing experience that I didn't even know that I was going to be having. Within weeks, I quit my job as a letter carrier for the post office because, and that was my security net for finances and money and everything. And when my boss was mandatoring me, and I was supposed to work at the church at night, it, I all I could see my boss mouth smoothing, but I was like, is it me or money? That's all I was hearing. Is it me or money? And I was just like, you don't understand. You're making me have to resign. And everyone just got real quiet because no one resigns from a career job. And I was like, there's other things that are more important. And so I end up resigning. And by doing so, I ended up working in the church, getting paid by the church, and helping well over 700 kids and their families, mentoring them along the way in ways that I never, ever dreamed possible. So, just that faithfulness to move forward. And, even though we are argumentative at times, he is so patient with us, just like our parents are. It's like, we are just like, no, I don't want to do that. Don't make me do that, and ultimately the parent gets their way and they find out, oh, this was the right direction all along. So anyway, so I got into mentoring. He told me in the middle of it all to start, I was mentoring some people from the church, and then it started becoming more outside of the church. And then he said online. And I was like, online? Really? So then I had to start relooking at all that. And of course, the enemy comes in and gives all these health issues with all my family members and everything. And it took me down another road. But it was just a sidetrack, but it was also life lessons that I needed to be able to help other people with. So, and I recognize it as is. It's hard. It's very difficult to go through these fire experiences where you feel like everything is coming on fire around you, and you're trying to put the fires out, but it's not working very well. But he sees us through it. He sees us through it, and through that, I can help other people go through it, because we can't do this alone. We really need each other. And God said, love him with all our heart and soul, and love others as we love ourselves. And we need to treat others how we want to be treated. And so it's like, when you're fading and when you're grieving and when you're going through all these hardships and you want to pull away from everybody, that's when you need to be pulled into with people.
Mm,
And I I feel that nudge to be able to help pull people back.
amen. Yeah, I love that. And you're also in the process of some other books as well. Do you want to share a little bit more about how that's going and what's happening with that?
Okay. Well, one book I'm hoping to get done by the end of this year. I'm almost done with it. I'm hoping to have a series. It's called It's All About. And each book has it's all about, and the first one is all about love. And it's about how we have something hidden in ourselves, that we're born, that we have this need and we have this want and this desire, but we can't figure it out. So, of course, when you're kids, it's all about mom and dad and take care of me and all this other stuff. But as you grow older, we start putting things in there. I want this, I want that. That's going to make me happy. And then it turns out that doesn't make you happy. Then you want the next best thing. And then you want a relationship. And I'm going to be happy if I get married. And then, I'm going to be happy if I have kids. And there's always something that's missing. And that key part is our relationship with God. And if we don't have that relationship with God, we're always going to be searching for the next best thing. And the best thing is God. And so it's unpacking what that looks like. And I took apart all the different questions I've had from different people, why we believe these certain things. And it unpacks all of it, why we believe each thing and how it comes across. And so then ultimately, after it's all about love, because God is of love and he is drawing us in by love, it's all about relationships, because that's the second commandment. It's all about teamwork, working with others, going into teamwork, because we like to isolate ourselves a lot. And actually, we really need each other and we can work as a really good team. We'll get arguments, but that's okay. That's the way life is. But teamwork it's a huge thing with God, and we all work together, the common goal. And experiences. All of us have had so many different experiences, and that enlightens and encourages people by hearing what God has done to them and help them through different times. So that's a series. Another book is Experience the Little Trials of Life and Live to Tell About It. And that's all my experiences that, I like to tell people Hallmark wouldn't even be able to do a movie. Because my experience, they said no, that wouldn't happen to too many. That just wouldn't happen. And it did. And it's like, yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, experience the little lives, experience the little trials of life and live to tell about. And I have a couple of, just for fun, when I'm in the mood, just fiction books that I have a couple of ideas that I've been working on. And just when I want to go into fantasy land and do that. So there you have it.
Ooh, that sounds so exciting. I can't wait to hear about all of those as they're coming out in the future. So make sure you keep me in the loop.
I will.
With all these different, you've published in Leap of Faith, which for our listeners, if you guys have not gotten your copy and checked it out, please do. It is so inspiring, so encouraging, such a needed book right now. But Linda, what would be your top tips for aspiring authors who are listening, who, especially those maybe that are in a similar place to where you were before, where they're kind of wrestling with God. They're like, wait until later, or, God, I'm waiting for the perfect circumstances, or I feel like I need to do all these other things right now, but God's really putting it on their heart that they need to write this book. What would be your tips for them?
My tip is don't give up. God hasn't given up on you, and he's going to see it through. And it says in the Bible that if he started to work in you, he's going to finish it. So, but sometimes there is a little break in the middle. You might have to do some growing. You might have to get into some experiences that you can write about. And it's just don't give up, and don't let the enemy take away the plan and the purpose. The full armor of God, putting that on every day is a huge success, because our battle is not against each other. It's against the principalities that are interfering. And I saw it firsthand. You'll read it in it all in it's the beginning. It's all about love. But it's where I put on part of the full armor. I went into the bedroom, and my husband just chewed me out for no reason. And I backtracked, and I saw exactly what had happened. And I was like, I need to put on my full armor today. And so I went and got my full armor, and then everything came out fine. But because I wasn't battling with him, he wasn't fighting me. It was the principalities that was trying to have that tug of war. And it's trying to see it in God's eyes than a personal aspect. And that's hard to do because we take things personal. Someone's attacking me, I got to attack back. No, you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to your point too, that I think so many times, especially with writing, because it's such an internal game, that
yes.
that when God calls you to do something or to write something, all of a sudden that's when all of those other voices try to come in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's the self-doubt and the fears and the what if this and what if that. And
right.
really the enemy does try to come in and intervene when God's trying to do a work in you. And because that's the last thing the enemy wants, right?
Right.
I love
right.
that tip of, don't give up and keep going and keep pressing into the Lord and put on the armor and just do what God's calling you to do and trust that he will finish the work, that he will guide your steps, all of those things. So,
and don't beat yourself up if you fall down, don't beat yourself up if you need a break for a week. Just get back up and do it again. Just keep going. If it takes 10 years to get your book done, then it takes 10 years to get your book done. Hopefully it won't, because you don't want to have to go through what all I've been through.
Yeah. Well, it definitely doesn't have to be 10 years. It could be much less time if you have the right help with the right support to the process. But yeah.
It's just God's in control, and allowing him to be in control. That's the big thing. Absolutely. And just don't beat yourself up, because he's not beating you up. You're doing it to yourself.
That's true. That's true. So Linda, if people are listening and they're really just loving what they're hearing and they want to be a part of your world and read your future books and hear more about your story, how can they learn more about you and connect with you?
The best way is go to connect with me personally, go to linda@divinecoffeechat.com. And you can see all the different books. And as I'm working on a book, I'm about done with the book, I'll say, woohoo, we got it done. Here it is, and you'll be seeing it. So come back periodically. I have a mentoring program that helps people go from, figuring out what it is. Because a lot of times it's hard to figure it out. God's nudging at you and you don't know what it is. But we unpack that and we look at that together. And you look at your self-esteems and the different aspects, your talents, and then we go find out our spiritual talents, and then putting them all together and making a mission statement on your life. So, it's all this stuff that I've learned over the years that were so enlightening to me, that got me where I'm at today and where I'm moving forward. So, I would love to pass it on to others.
I love that. Absolutely. So for all of my listeners, if you want to do that, you want to connect with Linda, you want to be a part of what she's doing, then definitely check her out. I will include all of her links in the description below for you guys. Linda, thank you so much again for coming on the podcast. It was wonderful to have you.
Thank you. It was so fun.
Awesome. And for all my listeners, of course, thank you for listening and tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, do let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much again for tuning in to the 1 Minute Writing Tip podcast. If you would like additional resources to be able to help you in your journey of writing and publishing, and of course, achieving your long-term author goals, go to wewritebooks.com/author resources, or you can just click the author resources tab at the top of the page on wewritebooks.com, and you'll be able to find plenty of practical things that will help you to get that clarity, take those steps, get your book accomplished, and of course, hit best-selling book and beyond. So make sure you check that out. Don't forget to like and comment below the episode, and I will see you on the next one.